Hey, so this is my first time recording with OBS. I really just rigged everything up myself. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's just me and Google figuring it out. I have my iPhone because it is the best quality camera that I currently own. So that's propped up on a tripod right now. I'm using a blue Snowball microphone, which I've just had for a long time. It doesn't even have like a noise reduction cover on it. I need to get one of those and an arm for it because the stand that it's on is not great and it's probably going to fall off my table at some point while I'm doing this. So I do need to get both of those things. I'm sorry about any like background noise or air conditioning or like the cats. It is what it is. We're working with what we've got right now. And then I'm using my MacBook and my iPad as a second monitor because I don't have one of those, and like a Pixar lamp. So this is as good as it gets right now. If any of it is in any way subpar, I'm so sorry. If you have any like advice or tips or anything like that, please let me know. Because again, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm winging it. So yeah. Also, I'm just now realizing that not wearing mascara and filming in 4K is a choice. But we're going to the pool in like 2 hours. And I'm going to be outside all day. You'll live. It's fine. So if you haven't watched my Werewolf Summer video yet, I will link that down below just in case you want to watch it. But one thing that I mentioned that I wanted to do was build on every lot in Moonwood Mill, which is the world that comes with the Werewolves pack in Sims 4. I've had that pack since it came out, and I've never built on any of the lots. I've used plenty of the items. I've just never actually built in Moonwood Mill. So yeah, I'm going to build on each one of those. I think there's 5 lots in total, so I'm just going to demolish each one and build from scratch something like werewolf themed or werewolf aesthetic adjacent, just for fun. So yeah, I did the first one and we're going to tour it together. I do have a couple disclaimers though about how I play The Sims before we get into the build, and I feel like I might have to put this in front of any Sims builds that I upload in the future, just in case. Firstly, I don't use any mods or custom content. I think there's some really awesome ones out there. However, I am playing on a MacBook Pro, which is not the smartest thing, and I wouldn't suggest it. I've had this laptop and I've been playing The Sims on this laptop for like 7 or 8 years, I think, by now, and I've never had any issues, but again, I wouldn't really recommend it. I do definitely want to get a computer in the future that is made for gaming. It would be ideal, but I'm going to have to get a pre-built because I don't have the skill set to build one myself, and it's just not a priority financially for me right now, or something that I can't prioritize right now. So in the future, I will definitely get one, hopefully, but right now we're using what we got, and that is a MacBook Pro. And again, I've had it for 7 or 8 years doing this, and I haven't had any problems, but I also don't want to push my luck with it. So I just avoid mods and custom content altogether, just because I don't want to add anything additional to like my memory or anything like that. So, however, I do use cheats. I cannot build without cheats. The moment I open up a lot, before I click on an item or construct a wall, I'm opening up the cheat window and I am using move objects, show hidden objects, show live edged objects, and ignore gameplay unlocks entitlement. Every time, without fail. I cannot do a build without them. I think they take everything to the next level. So again, I don't use mods or custom content. I do use cheats. I do use a ton of debug items. I love debug. So yeah, just keep that in mind. More importantly, something else to know is that I have been playing The Sims 4 for again 7 or 8 years. I don't play The Sims. In that span of time, I could probably count on one hand how many times I have actually opened the game and played it. I exclusively use build mode. That's the only thing I use it for. My favorite things to do in a game ever are to either build or explore. So I have sunk hundreds of hours into building in The Sims 4. I go in with some sort of aesthetic or concept or idea or inspiration. I build it. While I'm building it, I create a little backstory of what it's for or who lives there or who's using it or whatever, and I finish it, and then I never touch it again. I very rarely even bother to create a sim to put in it, and if I do, it's because I need to have a sim to turn a TV on or something like that for the vibe. But again, I don't play it. So with that being said, I have no idea if my builds are 100% functional. I don't test them. I have no idea, because functionality is just not a priority for me when I'm building in The Sims. I'm building for aesthetic. I'm building for vibe. I'm not building for functionality. So again, I will upload all of these builds to the gallery. If you want to use them, just keep in mind there might be some elements of it that aren't functional, and you're just going to have to make a little bit of alteration to it, either moving or deleting an item, because again, I do use move objects, so sometimes things overlap. Something might block a door or a piece of furniture, or an item just might not work because of how I've placed it. I also scale items a lot to make them larger or smaller if it seems to fit the aesthetic better, or fit things more proportionately. So I do scale items a lot as well, which I'm sure probably has some effect on the function of a build. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Don't come yelling at me if you download this build, the two people who might ever. But yeah, just don't come yell at me if something doesn't work. I'm so sorry. Just move it or take it out. Also, again, I don't use mods, I don't use custom content, but I do use debug. And of all of the existing packs and kits, I currently probably have half of them, and I will use any of them at will. I don't ever filter by a specific pack. I'm just using anything and everything that I have. So I will try to list in the caption which packs I chose from, if I'm able to figure that out from uploading it to the gallery or whatnot. But if you see an item at any point that I use, and you want to know what it is or what it's from, just comment or send me a message on somewhere or something. Just let me know. Send me a screenshot or something, and I'll figure out what it is. I spend so much time combing through debug and just combing through different packs to find what I think is the perfect item for a build. So if I can save you that time, if you see something that you like, just let me know and I'll tell you exactly what it's from or how to find it. So yeah, those are the only disclaimers I have. I think. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, so let's do a little walkthrough, shall we? Speed tour. Let me not come for that guy's brand. So this is the first official build that I have done for my little Werewolf Summer Sims 4 series. I did want the first lot to be a residential lot because they're real easy, and I wanted to keep it simple. This isn't simple. This is a 3-house lot, but simple in terms of concept, I guess. This lot in particular, I can't remember what it's called. I know it was a bar. So I did have to convert it to a residential, and then I just changed the name to Werewolf Summer Homes because I couldn't think of a better name than that. But I did have to convert it to a residential. But I liked this lot specifically, which is kind of silly, but specifically because of this back here. When I saw this, I thought it would be cool for the houses to kind of butt up against it. So as you can obviously see, we've got 3 houses. They do have detached garages, and then a chain link fence all the way around it, some trees here, and then this. So I just like that it backs up to that, but it is a little bit separated by the trees. I did also put this debug water tower here because I thought it added to the vibe as well. So let's see here. I have no idea how to do one of these. I guess I'm just going to explain to you what I did. I don't know. Let's see. So obviously these 3 houses are very similar, but they're not identical. I did make sure that each one is at least a little bit different, but not by much. The shells, like the general layout and especially the exterior, are unique to each house. I did reuse a ton of items in each house though. The vibe that I was going for here though, honestly, one of my favorite like aesthetics in terms of residential architecture is just like a Midwest, like middle class 90s house. I've never been to the Midwest, so I'm basing that entirely on like film and Pinterest. But based on those things, I feel like I did a pretty good job with this. I feel like that kind of captures that general vibe. So yeah, they are all 2-story. Each one again has this little detached garage, which is not in any way, shape, or form functional because The Sims still won't give us garage doors. Thank you so much. I did build out all of the shells and did the entire exterior for the most part before I did the interiors. So we will just start with the first one I decorated. So we have this one here. Also, all of the mailboxes are just chilling right there because what else was I going to do with them, you know? This one has a little like enclosed porch, I guess, like a Florida room, if you will. This one I imagine is a family of 4. So mom and dad, maybe like a 17-year-old daughter, and then like, I don't know, like a 14 or 15-year-old son. So they have 3 cars because the son can't drive yet. And then also they just bought the same car 3 times because it's reliable and it's affordable and they like what they like. So, and like the daughter didn't have a choice. So I guess we'll look at the bottom floor first. Well, a little quick peek at the exterior. I don't know what I'm doing, dude. So here's the front. Not good with camera. This is the side. I don't know what I'm doing. Back. We don't need like a wraparound exterior situation. This is so pointless. Okay. I hate this. And the music is so loud in my headphones. Also, I have the like Sims 4 music scaled down in OBS so that it's not too loud for y'all, but I can't figure out how to turn it down in my own headphones without messing up the recording. So it's so loud in my ears. If anybody, I'll Google it later, but if anybody knows how to do it off the cuff and wants to just tell me and save me the time Googling and figuring it out, please do, because it's so loud and I feel like I'm probably screaming at you guys because of that. Who knows? Okay, so first we have this little like enclosed porch Florida room situation. I kept it really simple with the decorations. Every one of these houses has this same exterior light, same front door, same window. These windows are different than all of the other ones just because I liked this as like I don't think this came with the house. They added this on at some point and these were the windows that were available to them. We've got just a little sitting area here, a ceiling fan, because if you live in a hot state, you want a fan where you can put one. Just a little decorative wreath, probably not in any way, shape, or form functional. I don't know if it messes up the door. I don't test my builds. Little mat, and then some shoes. Real simple. And then I really hope every time I like move, I'm not shaking the camera. I might need to get a different tripod. And then once you come inside, we've got this just a little basic entryway, a little console here, a little painting, a little clothing rack. I used these blinds on most of the windows. I think there's a couple curtains in this house in particular, and then I think quite literally everywhere else it's just these blinds. I really like these blinds. I did scale them down. They default come like this big, which is crazy to me. But I just scaled them down on all of the windows. Fun little fact. But yeah, just a very basic entryway with a rug, and then you can either go directly upstairs or down the hall. The first room off to the left, hopefully I'm not making you dizzy, is the dining room. Just a very cute little basic dining room. See, this room does have curtains, and I assumed they would obviously want to match the curtains to the chair cushions. So there's that. And then we've got this cute little greenery painting of a field here. I don't know what that is. I think it's a field. And then I couldn't find a rug that I liked for the dining room, honestly. So instead I added these little scratch, like decals or whatever they're called. These like, they're just, they're technically cracks in the floor, but they look like scratches because I figured with all of the use of sliding these chairs back and forth to sit down, it would eventually scratch the floor. So I threw those down. I thought that was a nice, very subtle touch. And then I figured, you know, they probably, one of the kids does homework here. So there's a little pile of homework. And then let's see here. And then if you continue down the hall to the left, we have the kitchen. Now in the other two builds, the cabinets and like kitchen setup are you'll see them, they're the like off-white cabinets with the Formica countertops. I figured in this house in particular, the family has made some minor upgrades. One of those upgrades being the Florida room that was added onto the front, and then also an upgrade to the kitchen. So they got new cabinets and countertops. So I did these kind of rich brown ones. I love these cabinets. These are some of my favorite cabinets in The Sims, but they did keep the same appliances. What are they gonna do? You know, you gotta save money where you can. So they do still have the same appliances as all of the other builds, but it's a very basic kitchen layout. These rooms are not very big. So we have just the basic little layout here: sink, stove, microwave, fridge. That is a debug cutting board that I put in all three houses as well. And then we've got just like a tiny coffee bar and the china cabinet, if you will. Also, again, I used the same elements in pretty much all three houses as often as I could because I figured they would all be built at the same time and that would be very like on brand for that. So this floor is in all of the kitchens and bathrooms. This floor and the carpet you'll see in the living room is everywhere else. And then it's either this wallpaper or wooden wall paneling. And then it's all the same like door frames and interior doors versus exterior doors. So everything looks the same. And then in all three of these houses, there is a laundry room that connects the kitchen to the back door. They are all laid out differently and they're all a different size. So this one is theirs. So they have the same washer dryer that you're going to see in all three houses. For theirs, they just have this one little, or I guess two little shelves right above the washer dryer, some storage boxes, cleaning supplies, little board games that they might play for family night, two different clothes hampers because obviously they have two kids. They're going to have a lot of laundry, ironing board, broom. You're going to see all of these elements in all three houses. Don't mind me. Also, I think that I like to put in my builds as often as possible are light switches. You will see those in every room of these builds, and I try to put them to how many lights would actually realistically be in the house. It's a very small detail that takes like 2 seconds to add, but I think it elevates the build just a little bit. It makes it a little bit more realistic. So like in this room, we've got one light switch for the laundry room and then one for the back porch light. And then this house has an alarm system. There's one here and one in the front hallway. I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, I think it's an alarm. I was about to say it might be like a thermostat, but it is an alarm. The other two houses I didn't put it in, but I do light switches everywhere. So that's a fun little detail. I wish there was more build items like that, like wall socket outlets, things like that. But yeah, we have light switches, so that'd be cool. I would also love, I tried to find one in debug, but I couldn't find one. I don't think it exists. Like a water heater and a propane tank would be really cool. Because like an outdoor propane tank, I live in the South, so there's propane tanks in people's yards all the time. And I just think it would be a nice little touch. Also like an old school, like water heater, like tank thing. I think that's what they're called. I don't know. But yeah, like in the kitchen here, there's one light switch here, so that goes into the laundry room. And the light switch over here for the kitchen itself. And this one has a garbage disposal. So it's got its own little light switch there. Anyway, back into the hallway, we have, like I said, this song is really annoying. We have the alarm system here, so you could access it from the front door or the back door, depending on which way you're going. Little phone, calendar, chalkboard. I figured the family would write different like reminders and things like that on it. Some little flowers and a very old school, what is that? Washboard? That's a washboard. Yeah. And then down the hall is the living room. Now here's the thing. Like I built the shelves first and then I did all of the exterior stuff and then I did the interior. So I'd kind of committed to the shelves pretty early on without thinking about the actual layout of furniture. So the living room in this one in particular was a little bit of a challenge to decorate. I posted on my TikTok about it with screenshots of like 6 different options for layouts because I genuinely could not decide. And then I ended up picking the one that like nobody liked. So oopsies. But I really like how the living room turned out despite the fact that it was a weird layout. So we have 3 light switches in this one because you got to think. We got a light here, and a ceiling fan. So you need 3 light switches. So this little console entertainment stand thing I did scale down, I think once, because it was huge and it took way too much space in this little corner. So I just scaled it down 1. It reminded me of a like entertainment stand or like TV stand that my grandma used to have. So I really like it. This is actually one of my favorite little pieces of furniture, but I scaled it down here. And then I threw this big old TV on it, and then 2 recliners here. They're those, I think these come with the werewolf pack, I'm pretty sure. But just these 2 little old recliners. And then on this side, we've got the couch pushed up against the wall. I had looked on Pinterest for like 90s living room, 90s like basement, like family room layouts. And a lot of the times it seemed like furniture was pushed up. I say like I grew up in the 90s. I lived it. But a lot of the times it was like furniture was like pushed up against walls to create as much floor space as possible. Whereas now a lot of times you see where couches are like almost in the middle of the room to separate, to like kind of divide up a room, because we have so many open floor plans these days that furniture is just like in the middle of the room, which obviously the recliners are, but you get what I'm saying. The couch, I wanted the couch to be up against the wall instead of closer to the TV, so that's what I did. I put the couch there, and then this coffee table, and then I'm pretty sure all these little clutter items are debug. I know for a fact I put at least 2 soda cans on this end table. I don't know where they went, but I did put 2 debug soda cans, and I'm not digging for them again to put them back. Whatever. This is also in every build, every house on this lot. I love this thing so much, and I feel like it fits the aesthetic perfectly. So I did put this in every living room. I don't care. And I think also this lamp. Again, a lot of the same elements are going to be in all 3 houses. Sue me. And this is the wood paneling and the carpet that I mentioned. I think I changed the carpet color in like 1 or 2 rooms, but for the most part it's this same green in all of them. I wanted to stick with like green and brown tones for most of the stuff because again it fits that kind of like Midwest, live near the woods vibe because they're werewolves. Also, in this imaginary little fantasy that I'm creating for all of these builds, they're all werewolves. Okay, that's what makes this Werewolf Summer, is that we're building in Moonwood Mill and they're all werewolves. I love this rug. This rug is like also one of my favorite elements. Honestly, I had a great time building this lot in particular because I used so many of my favorite elements, because this is truly like one of my favorite just like vibes and aesthetics, is like very cozy, like 90s Midwest, if that's what it is accurately called. I don't know, but I like this coffee table a lot. I like this rug a lot. Another thing that I do in all of my builds that I personally think elevates it just a little bit is not just snapping all items to the grid. I will place all of my items and then I will go through the entire room and I will make things just a little bit crooked or like a little bit off center to give it a little bit more of like a lived in realistic thing. And then in this corner over here, we have the quintessential family computer room. We have this little desk, we have this old school PC computer, headphones, a cassette tape because it was just in the debug, CDs, this little lamp, books. You can see, you have eyes, hopefully. And then coming up the stairs, we have 4 doors. The very first door is the bathroom. So this is the bathroom that guests can use. It's also the bathroom that the siblings have to share. Again, I'm going to be repeating a lot of elements through these 3 houses. All of the bathrooms have slightly different layouts using the exact same elements. So you're going to see this shower, this toilet, not these counters in particular, only in this house, but this sink, these mirrors, this window and this window shade, this towel, this toilet paper, this wallpaper, this tile, this rug, and this little hand towel as well, and this door. So all of the bathrooms are going to be close to identical. This, I think I might have only put this clutter item in this shower. I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, that is the grand tour of the bathroom that you're going to see 6 times, I think. And then the next door is the parents' bedroom. I kept this one pretty simple. I figured they probably wouldn't want to decorate their bedroom all that much. They prefer to like put the money in the backyard or things to do with the family. So it's a pretty simple master bedroom for sure. But I did continue the green theme throughout it. We have a little mismatched side table situation. I honestly could not find lamps that I liked for this room, so I just skipped them. Sorry. Then there's a little bench. And then on this side here, for the record, this is my favorite closet. I don't like any of the other closets that, like the pre-built closets. This is the only one I like. I love this door. I wish we had this door as its own option. But yeah, this closet, you're going to see quite a lot. But then on this side, my favorite dresser in the game. This dresser is in almost every bedroom of all 3 houses. Again, I repeated a lot of elements. Sorry. But I love this dresser. Little clutter here and there. And then this... The one thing about the mirrors in this game, I think there's some really sick mirrors in this game. But for the wall mirrors, there might be a way to do it that I just haven't been able to figure out, but it seems like all of the wall mirrors snap at a certain height. You can raise them, but you can't lower them. So if you have like a dresser or a table and you're trying to make a vanity where the mirror, like I have 2 mirrors on the wall here and here in my home. I like putting mirrors on walls. I know that can like open portals or something. It's a risk I'm willing to take for the aesthetic, you know? But when I was setting this up, there wasn't like all the gap between the bottom of the mirror and the top of the dresser was just too big in my opinion. So this is a floor mirror that I've just tucked in here. I don't have my move objects turned on right now, but I just stuck it in here. I don't know if that affects the function of the dresser. That's not my business, but I love the way it looks. I think the wood matches almost perfectly, and I think it just looks, it's pretty dang close to those like dresser vanity sets that you could get in the 80s and 90s that were those big huge dressers, and they would come with the mirror that would sit on the top of it, and sometimes it had like shelves on each side of the mirror, sometimes it didn't, but I always thought those were really cool. I would love to find one of those like thrifting or something one day. I don't really have the space for it right now, but eventually I would love to have one. But I really liked the combination of this, and I did it in every house. So oh, there's the wall. And then the master bathroom. Every house is a 2-bathroom. I think this one is a 3-bedroom. The others are a 2-bedroom, I think. But again, as you can see, same elements. This one I did deviate a little bit. I did use this mirror instead, and I added this little cabinet thing and then some scaled down clutter at the top. But otherwise, it is all the same elements, just laid out slightly different. Like I said. There's my cat. That's a cat. And then at the end of the little upstairs hallway, we have the kids' bedrooms. So on this side over here, we have the daughters. Again, I imagine she's got to be like 16, 17. Obviously, a little bit of a mess, but very girly, very like cheerleader. I did make her carpet blue. I figured maybe the parents would like update her carpet when they like decorated her room when she was 13 or something. She's just got this cute little setup. The rooms are obviously pretty tiny, but they make them work. Her and her brother have the same bed. It's just a different like color and bedding. So for her, I did do this like off-white kind of eggshell color, and I matched. Again, there's that dresser. But I did match it to the bed, and then she's just got a bunch of very cute little clutter. And then for both of the kids, I just used a plain, like the same interior door that I used everywhere else to make a closet. I don't even think I put anything in hers, because again, I don't care if they're functional. It's just there for the vibe. And then her little mess, she's got a little tablet of some sort on her beanbag chair. They both have a little TV, and yeah, that's her room. Little Polaroid display on the wall. And then for his room, they kept the carpet because he didn't mind at all, but for him, he gets the dark bed with the black bedspread. He's probably really into music, so he's got some CDs on the wall. I scaled down this table so tiny to fit at the end of the bed, and put a stereo on it, same TV. He's got CDs, records, some books. He's much tidier than his older sister, so his laundry is nice and folded in the hamper to be put away in his closet. That is also, oh no, I did hang clothes in his closet. Oh, look at me go. Also, a little hack if you like using ceiling fans. I don't know about all of them, but I know this ceiling fan in particular is not a light source, so I just use this tiny little like saucer light, and with Move Objects on, I just layer them and it works. The fan doesn't block out the light at all, because without it, the room is pretty dark. But yeah, that is the boys' room. And then very basic roof. I did no chimneys or anything because they don't have fireplaces. So again, all three houses have this little detached garage situation. I set them up to where obviously you would want them to be accessible from the driveway, which is a dirt driveway. The cars don't actually fit in these, so again, they're not functional. But I made sure that on this side there was a little chain link fence that connected it between here. Let's pretend it's a gate, even though it's not. And then for the other side, I just had like the neighbor's fence run right up against it, because like nothing's gonna get through there, you know, like it's fine, it's safe. And then but yeah, the chain link fence runs all the way around for each yard. The chain link fence is a debug item. I don't know why we don't have normal chain link fences yet. That is like my number one desire, is to get normal chain link fences. I want normal chain link fences, like as an actual fence item, with barbed wire and without barbed wire. And I would like a screened in, like a patio screen or a screen door. I want like that real bad. I want to be able to do like a screened in porch with an actual screen. Would love that. Also, these fence items, when you use them, they come out like this big. They're huge. So I do scale them down, obviously. And they are a little meticulous to lay out. Not gonna lie, but it is worth it in my opinion. I love a chain link fence. So they had a little above ground pool installed, and then I feel like they probably just installed these patios on their own. They laid all these pavers themselves. So I tried to pick elements that looked like they could have like DIY'd them, you know? This little like back step I think is on the same on every house as well. And I've got this little light fixture above it. For this family, I figured that they would put their trash cans kind of up against this gate, because I don't have a gate, but they would put them up against the gate so that they could easily take the trash out from the back door from the kitchen, and then they could just go through the gate and run them down to the road every week when they needed to. And then they've got these little pavers. These are from, I think these are like a swimming pool item, but I just laid them out as pavers or like stepping stones. I made a few of them crooked so they looked well used. And then this is just a floor pattern that I used to make the like patio areas and the, what is this one called? The barely there fence, I think. Oh, fence for window shopping. So I just used that to kind of line it off, because it obviously is a very flat pattern item. This made it look a little bit more dimensional. So on this patio over here, they just have their little table and chairs. And then I assume this is a covered grill. It's a debug item. I guess it's a grill. It looks like a grill. We're saying it's a grill. The pavers are also put just right here outside this door. And then there's kind of like a mini patio here that's not really used for anything other than storing like the family's coolers. And then there is an outdoor shower since they have a pool. I love outdoor showers. I would love to have an outdoor shower. Well, I just used a really basic fence, and I used like a gravel floor pattern here. And then this is just, I think this came with like the high school pack or something like that, but it is just the freestanding shower. So that is the outdoor shower. And I'm so stoked that we can do above ground pools now. I just used a basic like platform outlined here. I figured they probably haven't cleaned it in a little bit. So there's some leaves. These are, I think these are debug floaties that I threw in here. And then another one just kind of chilling back here. I figured they'd throw them in the back when they're not using them. because they don't want the garage to smell like chlorine. And I know a lot of times with above ground pools, people will build like whole decks around them, which like that's great. It looks cool. It's super functional as well. I never had an above ground pool growing up, but I had a lot of friends who had above ground pools, and most of the time they did not have like a deck built around it. There was usually like a little staircase to get to the ladder, and that was it. Or there was just like a ladder going in and out. Like it wasn't this huge elaborate setup. It was like, there's the pool, there's how you get into it. Everything else is going to be somewhere else in the yard. So I just did a little staircase here and then put a regular pool ladder like attached to it. And then this is just like a wall decoration that I really meticulously line up. But yeah, I just did that around it to kind of make it look like the stairs weren't just like floating there. I would love if they would add some foundations that looked more like traditional above ground pools, either with the like plastic vinyl siding, or like a inflatable kind of texture. I know they have some inflatable furniture pieces, obviously, so it would be cool if they could replicate that with the foundations to give us more options now that we can do above ground pools. That would be cool. Oh man, my fence. Oh, look at my fence. Why are you there? Can I? There we go. I don't love doing landscaping in The Sims, mainly because I'm not good at it. I just need to get better at it, I think. But in this build in particular, I did make sure to add some like dirt paths here where I would assume The Sims would kind of trail regularly, because obviously they have these pavers, so there's not going to be any walking path there, but there's nothing leading to the pool, so I figured this would get worn pretty well as it's like the shortest path to and from the showers, and then this here where they walk around to get the floaties when they need them. Same thing, I used the same like dirt pattern for this like driveway situation, and like a little walking path to and from the cars in the porch where they would tread the most often. And let's take a little peek inside this garage. So for this family, theirs is pretty well organized. This is the cabinetry that you will see in the other two houses. I figured they would either like repurpose their cabinets or just like have them moved into the garage. I don't know. But it's clearly not enough storage for them because they still have bins up here and here. They have this one little shelf with some debug, like lawn care items, a fridge. Here's the thing. The vibe for this is like Midwest middle class. Growing up, if you had a fridge in your garage, like a second refrigerator, you were rich. You were well off. My life, first of all, I don't own a home. I don't know if I'll ever own a home at this point in this economy. Come on. But if I have a home with a garage and I can put just a basic white fridge in it, I will have made it. Okay? A fridge in a garage is a sign of status in my experience and opinion. So this family is doing well enough for themselves. The parents are very hardworking, so they have a fridge in the garage, as they should. And then I just threw some like debug clutter up on top, and then a little pallet of fertilizer. I assume they want to take care of their yard. It's pretty well maintained, so they have some fertilizer. Maybe the dad's mad about like the walking paths to and from the pool. I don't know. And then for the garage door, because Sims doesn't have garage doors, this is the like graffiti one. I built all 3 shells and then went to decorate the inside of it and realized, oh my god, there's no garage door on the back of the wall. What am I to do? This looks so silly. So what I ended up doing to make it look like the back of the garage door is visible from inside of the garage, you will need the move objects cheat turned on for this, but I took a second one, snapped it to the wall on this side, and then if you delete the wall behind it, it's an annoying step to have to do, but it's worth it. And then click the item, rotate it with the arrows, and leave it exactly where it is. Don't try to move it. It's perfectly placed. And then, where did my sidewalls go? And then replace the wall and you're good. And now it looks like the back of the garage door instead of it being the same thing on both sides. So, little tip for you. I'm just going to undo all of that so I don't have to repaint these walls. Please hold. Okay, cool. because otherwise it just looks like this, which is not realistic. Come on now. So that is the first house. I guess we will move right on to the second one. This one is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I figured it was, you know, a mom, dad, and 1 kid. She's also a daughter. She's probably like 19, 20, but still lives at home. She's probably going to the community college. She's a little bit older. Again, you're going to see a lot of the same elements. A lot of the same elements. But laid out differently. Some different character. Also, for this one, instead of the same 3 cars, we have this car here, which is the car the mom probably uses. This is the daughter's car she got for graduating high school. It was used, don't worry. And then maybe the dad is like a truck driver. I don't know. It's a debug truck and I really like it, so I put it in here. Also, I do think, hold on. No. Okay. I think I did put a car in their garage originally and it barely fit, so I just took it out. I didn't bother with it. So they just have a very basic little front porch with 2 of those same chairs because I like them. And then for them, they just keep their 1 trash can over here by the porch. This is the shortest walk to put it by the road. It's easy, so it's right there. Also, if you noticed, this family recycles, as they should. But they don't judge their neighbor for not recycling. They just do what they can. Okay? So kind of same thing as the other house. You come right in the door. The staircase goes up to the right. That stays consistent in all 3 houses. It was just the easiest stair placement. In this entryway, however, they did a little more decorating than the other family did. They have this little dresser vanity situation here. Probably like their junk drawers and stuff. You know, I probably should have bothered to put some clutter here, but I did not, clearly. Oopsies. I did, however, make sure to put plants on these shelves here. I do wish this option came with an option for just the baskets without the shelves, but it's cute. It works. Then they have a little bench to like put their shoes on, things like that. A little coat rack on the wall. And then over in this corner, they have a very old rotary phone and a phone book to go with it, which is not an actual phone book, but it looked close enough. And 2 of the washboards, nothing on this wall. They're like, we've decorated enough. For this one, I like this dining room a lot. I think of the 3, this is probably my favorite dining room. Again, couldn't find a rug that I liked. I love the combination of these furniture pieces, specifically the colors. This very like cool toned wood that almost has a gray undertone, and then the gray like woven seats of these chairs. I just like the vibe of this room. So again, they have the table and chairs, a very simple dining room lamp. This is like a, you know, a basic hutch, and then a very old icebox that they probably like found at an antique store or a thrift store or something. And it's probably not functional, not in the way that my builds aren't functional, but in the way that like it doesn't work and it's just there for looks for them. Maybe they have like, maybe they use it as like a pantry. I don't know. Like I said, I use a lot of the same elements in all of the builds, but I made sure that the layouts of the shelves were different. So in this one, they can access the dining room from both the hallway and the kitchen. And then over here, there's this little... Girl. I don't know what I did there. I don't know what happened. Ignore that. Anyway, there's this little... I don't know what this would be called. Transitionary walkway. I don't know. You see it. It's a hall. It's a very miniature hallway leading into the kitchen. These are the cabinets and counters you will see throughout the rest of the bathrooms and the other kitchen as well. Obviously, the layout is a little bit different from the other. So on this side, we've got the phone on the wall and the light switch. So we have the sink and the stove here, again, with that cutting board. This kitchen and the other kitchen has a little window in it. I did not bother squeezing one into the first house, but they have a full wall of cabinets up here, and then their fridge and microwave is over here on this side. Also, one thing that I like to do with this like kitchen cabinet in particular, which is one of my favorite ones to use, there is obviously the like used version and then the new version. I don't like to use the used version all the way through because the like distressing on it is identical all the way through, and it gets really repetitive and it's noticeable. So instead I try to do mostly the new one and then break it up with the used. So like this piece and this piece are used, and then this piece is used, because they're spaced out enough to where you don't notice that the pattern is the same. And then for the top cabinet, this is technically a different colorway, but the fronts match enough to where you don't notice. But in the used, this colorway doesn't exist, so they're all new. It is what it is. But that is the kitchen. And then into the laundry room, this one is a little bit longer this way. So same washer, dryer, ironing board, broom, laundry basket, laundry detergent, mat. However, they have built-in shelves on theirs that match the wood, or it's close enough. It does drive me a little bit nuts that it's not a perfect match in terms of like wood color, but it's fine. It does the job. And they have stacked these shelves full of stuff. So we've got boxes, cleaning supplies, a bucket of junk, board games, dog treats. They don't have a dog. We're just gonna pretend like this is like jarred food. I don't know. And then jumping back through the hallway, we have the living room. Their living room is slightly smaller than the first house and uses almost entirely all of the same furniture. Rug, coffee table, recliner, couch, lamp, this thing that I love and I kind of want one, fan with a little saucer light hiding in it. And then we've got the same little entertainment stand here, but then a little bit of a change up in the clutter. We've got a little basket of blankets, this cute little vintage clock, and like record player, some records to go with it. And then I wanted to include this clock somewhere, and this seemed like the right build to put it in. It just fit perfectly between these windows. This clock is so fun. I love that they included it in this pack, so I had to use it at least once. And then coming up the stairs, again, all the same elements, different layout. So this time I put the shower over this way. There's a little divider wall just so it made more sense with the shower head being there. Otherwise, all the same elements. There's the same cabinets that match the kitchen downstairs, with one used cabinet, one new cabinet to kind of keep it from being too repetitive. But it is the same window and everything. And then for the parents' bedroom, because this one is only a 2-bedroom, I did make the parents' bedroom access point a double door, which is just this interior door duplicated. It's, you know, it's not the most ideal with this little like very obvious frame in between it, but again, I'm not building for functionality, so these doors are never going to be opened. You're not going to notice it. One thing I did change in this build is instead of green carpet in the bedrooms, they both have this purple carpet color. I know that the purple doesn't totally go with the bedspread in here, but I figured maybe this is like one of those families that changes their bedspreads all the time, so sometimes they're going to match and sometimes they're not. But the purple carpet goes really, really well with the daughter's bedroom, and I figured they would just get the same carpet in both rooms. They wouldn't do a different color carpet because that would just be kind of a waste of money, or it probably wouldn't be. Actually, you're buying the same amount of carpet, so as long as they cost the same per color, maybe they got a deal. I don't know. I didn't want to deal with putting in another color. Okay. But this is their bed. It's just like a very basic, very kind of like southern, cozy, almost cabin-esque bedroom. They have matching side tables and matching lamps because they have their shit together. They have 2 closets that take up an entire wall. Again, I love these closets. This hamper, I don't love the color of this hamper, but it was the only hamper that looked okay, so we're just gonna ignore it. Over here, we have that same dresser mirror combo. I like what I like. However, I feel like this family probably goes antiquing on the weekends, and they have a really good eye for stuff because there's that icebox downstairs, there's that wall clock between the windows in the living room, and then they have this like really cool lighthouse lamp. I don't know, I feel like they're really good at antiquing. They probably found this, even though the neighbor also has it, but they don't know that. But yeah, I just thought this was cute to put here. And then they've got some blankets stored over here, and then their bathroom. Their bathroom has all of the same elements as the other ones. It's just laid out a little bit different. I figured this is kind of a true like master bathroom situation. So they only have one sink. I guess I could have done the double vanity situation, but I figured they'd want counter space. This is a different shower than the rest of them because I did put a tub here. So this is a clawfoot tub, 2 little matching end pieces, which are actually the same thing as what is next to their bed. These are just scaled down. Ignore that. But I just put these 2 tables here to flank the tub, kind of fill in that extra space a little bit and add some extra storage. And then the same towel rack, toilet, lights, all of that fun stuff. So that is the master bathroom. And then the daughter's bedroom is probably my favorite bedroom in this entire lot that I built. These string lights were a pain in the butt. These are the high wire light rope string lights. They come on this stand here, and I used move objects and elevated them and then hid the stick in the wall for all of them. I did also scale them down. No, I scaled them up twice, I believe. But I did 2 strands this way. I had to line it up perfectly to be between the windows here, just to make it realistic. And then I squared off the bedding area here. And then these lights back here are like a wall decor option. It's the festive wall light short, and I just did 3 layers of them. I like these as a wall decor piece, but I don't like that they're actually flat. It kind of kills the vibe for me, but it does the job here. But I figured she would like to have some lights strung around. She does have a double bed here. So these are the same rugs that I put in the master bedroom of the first house. Also, scaling these rugs is a little weird. They get huge if you try to scale them up and they don't fit in the room. So I just layered them, which is a little more noticeable in the master bedroom of the first house because you can see the seam right down the middle. Hers, it's pretty hidden under the bed, so I'm not too worried about it. And then just this little silver cart here. I think this is from the high school years pack. And then just a bunch of clutter poured in here. I figured she had like a tablet and a Kindle, maybe. I don't know. And then a vanity over here. And then just like a little makeup clutter here. And then she does get the big closet as well because I love it and she deserves it. So we used that there. But that is her bedroom. And I was very careful to make sure the string lights, not that I'm building for function, but just for realism's sake, that the string lights did not interfere with the ceiling fan because that would be a hazard. The backyard of this one I kept pretty simple. I did almost nothing. I did add a few trees back here that match the trees that run along the back of all of the yards, and then just a tiny little patio right over here. There is a clothesline back here, and then just a small glass table with the 4 chairs, and then just a little grill. I didn't want to do too much because I figured they didn't use this space all that much, and it's just the 3 of them, so they didn't need a bunch. And then these are the same pavers as the patio at the first house. It's that same floor pattern. And then for the interior of this garage, I kept this one pretty simple. They have the same cabinets that run across the back here as the other one. Just one little bike here. This is the only bike that I liked, and I didn't want to put 3 of the same one, so there's just gonna be one. And then just shelves running along the wall here with some various storage. So we have some bigger plastic tubs as well as some little cardboard boxes. I did rotate these so that the distressing kind of alternated. These are the exact same box all the way through. It's just depending on which end you have it on. Let's see if it'll show me. See, I just alternated like every other one. Even though it is a little bit repetitive, it breaks it up just enough. So that's that garage. Pretty simple. And then last but certainly not least, we have the third house on the lot. This one is probably my favorite for a number of reasons. I did also put this debug light post and little, I don't know, electrical box, I don't know what these are called, over here on this corner as well, just to balance it out since the stop signs and fire hydrant are on the other end. But this house ended up being my favorite out of the 3. Now, this is not a family, this is a set of 3 roommates. They're all high school graduates, probably in the community college, maybe, and they're all like very handy mechanic type guys, which we will see in the clutter in the backyard when we get to that. This one, the front porch, completely empty. They could not be bothered to put anything on their front porch. When you first walk in to the first floor, not really much happening. It does go straight to the staircase on this one instead of the door being offset. They put a really old rug here. Oh, there's the music again. And then they have like a little bulletin board because they need to remind each other of things. They need to know what's happening in the town. They need to know their work schedule, their sports schedule, all of those things. So they decided to put up a little board to keep everybody on track and accountable and responsible. However, there are a bunch of college-age boys, so of course in their little foyer area they do have a pong table. This I had to meticulously set up with debug cups and move objects, but this is just a little, I guess, card table and a total of I think 22 red Solo cups, and couldn't find like a ping pong type ball, so I used a soccer ball and scaled it down, and it just was like one of those little like foosball balls. So that kind of worked out perfectly. But yeah, they have a little pong table in their little lobby foyer area for when they want to kick back together, when they have friends over. They do have some decor piled in the corner here that they have not bothered to hang up yet. They will get to it. But this was obviously the priority and super easy to set up, so it took them no time at all. And then off of the hallway, we have a weirdly long kitchen. This was kind of the same issue as the living room from the first house that I just wasn't really thinking when I put the shell together. So the kitchen is a little longer than the other two, but it kind of works for this space anyway. We have the same cabinets from the second one where I alternated the used ones and the new ones to kind of give that distress without it being too repetitive. Same appliances, same tile floor and everything. They do have like a little older coffee pot, cutting board. Their phone and calendar are on this wall. The dining room is actually off of the kitchen instead of off of the front hallway in this one, and I just put a little round table with 4 chairs, squeezed that in here. This room doesn't get used much. Now this is the largest laundry room of the 3 houses, but it kind of worked out perfectly given the vibe of the like residents of this house. So they do have the same washer, dryer, hamper, all of that. I did put in the same built-in shelves. I figured since there's 3 of them, they would have some like color coordinated storage bins to keep all of their like random things separate, as well as some extra boxes, some kitchen stuff they're not using. Maybe they have a Costco membership and they're buying laundry detergent in bulk. Sporting supplies, which we will see at random throughout the house. And then because they are very outdoorsy, they play sports, they work on cars, they do a bunch of stuff, I did go ahead and build a 3rd shower. So this one does still have 2 bathrooms like the rest of the houses, but I did put a shower here in the laundry room as well, and then also this utility sink just kind of fit right in this little cubby, so I figured it would go there. This double curtain, again, wasn't going to be functional either way. The only reason I doubled this curtain up is because it has that little prong where it's supposed to stick to the wall, and I didn't like that just floating there, so I just reversed one and lined it up so it kind of looks like it's maybe a double lined shower curtain. And then back through the hallway we have the living room. This one is for sure the most chaotic of the 3, but it works perfectly. I figured they all came with like different furniture from their previous homes, or they thrifted a bunch of stuff. So in this one we have 2 couches that do not match. This was a necessity in this house for sure. We have a coffee table that is absolutely falling apart and it has seen its last day for sure. Board games, can never have too many board games. This like old bar sign that one of them probably found in a junkyard. We do have 1 recliner, 2 tire chairs that they probably made, a chest of God knows what, records. This is the same rug. This one obviously is also at the stairwell, but this is the same rug in just a different color pattern. I just like how distressed it is. I love this rug, and I figured maybe they would throw 2 down. And then I didn't know what to do for the entertainment stand at first in this one, but I figured maybe they started with this which is obviously not doing too well, but still functional. And then eventually one of them got this, and instead of getting rid of the entertainment stand, they just put the TV on top of it, and now they can watch 2 games at once, and they also didn't have to haul this off. So kind of had 2 benefits there for them. And then obviously could not forget that. And then heading upstairs, again, the bathroom at the end. This one is, I think, actually identical to the guest bathroom in the first house. This one does not have a dividing wall, mainly because I forgot to put it there, and I'm not going to bother doing it now. But otherwise, it's the exact same, just a different towel color, I think is the only other difference in this one. So we're not going to spend any time looking at this. Now, the thing with this house is it is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Technically 3-bath, I guess, if you include the downstairs shower, but there are 3 roommates. So with that, one bedroom is larger than the other, one is considered the master. So I put 1 roommate in the smaller bedroom, 2 in the larger one. So for this room, he has the room to himself because he does not have his own bathroom. He has 1 little closet here. This bed I used for all 3 of them. I just did a different comforter color, made it easy. I love this thing. So it had to go in here somewhere. And then I figured since he has the room to himself, but they do have a lot of friends, girlfriends, whatever, they needed extra space, as if the 2 couches downstairs were not enough. So this, in theory, would be a pull-out couch. And so this little rolling cart would be able to move somewhere over here out of the way if they did have guests and they needed to use this as a 4th bed. But in the meantime, his little laundry basket is chilling on top. And then I did this dresser and mirror combo yet again, and I will probably continue to use it in future builds. But on this one, he's got his little football, a little sports photo, which I don't know why this photo kind of creeps me out. It looks too realistic and I don't really like it, but it fit the vibe, so it's there. And then CDs and a little stereo, the carpet, the fan, the light, all of that is the exact same. But this is the 1 bedroom for the singular roommate. And then if we come over here, this is the double bedroom. So this is 2 roommates share this one because the room is huge. So we have 2 beds. They're the exact same bed. Yet again, different comforter. I figured on this one, he's a little bit more athletic. He is in community college, so he needs some homework down there. He's got his trophies from high school, a football, some sports posters, a tablet that is honestly a little too big, probably. I could have scaled that down. And then I figured they'd probably have a dartboard in here. And then this other roommate, he is a little bit more into music than anything. So he has his little guitar, stereo, headphones, CDs. He keeps his shoes here for some reason, laundry basket, some cool posters that do feature wolves because they don't care if people know that they're werewolves. And then this little basketball hoop, even though this is his closet, it made sense for the basketball hoop to go here so that he could shoot from sitting at the edge of his bed, and he doesn't really care. And then his closet is right here, and then their little bathroom is here. So again, all the same elements. This is the same mirror that's in the master bathroom of the first house, I believe. Otherwise, all of the elements are the exact same. It's just crammed in here. And then for the garage, I'll show the exterior in just a second. But for the garage, we have a very full storage shelf. A lot of these items are already built onto the shelf, but I did add these tools here, the saw, machete, some, what is that called? I genuinely can't think of what it's called. Fire starter, a wrench, all of these things. And then they have a workbench, some welding tools, a little oxygen tank or a gas tank of some sort, this little construction light, some signs and stuff that they're probably working on for the auto shop or something like that, or maybe a side project one of them has. And then this very, very worn down piece of boxing equipment here. And then for the outside of their yard, I only put one vehicle here that is actually technically considered drivable, even though it's still not, but for the sake of the illusion, this is one of their vehicles. It is hauling an old bathtub for some reason. I don't know why. I just thought it looked cool. But because they work on cars both as a job and as a hobby, there are parts quite literally everywhere, and their neighbors have just learned to live with it. So we have 2 junk cars here, a pallet with a massive tire, some additional tires stacked here, and then some cones, and then just some like junk scrap wood that they have for whatever reason. They do put their trash cans here. They don't recycle. And then in their backyard, they do have a little fire pit where they use like scrap wood, chairs, pallets, things like that. They've got their little like lawn camping chairs for when they have friends over. There's plenty of seating. They're working on something that involves glass and sharp objects. So that just hangs out in this corner. And then more junk piled up in the back of their yard. 2 more cars, an engine of some sort, some barrels, more tires, more cones, more tires. And then because the water tower is in their backyard, they do get a discount because of that, because it cuts into their backyard. The water tower is surrounded by a chain link fence that has barbed wire. And then I figured maybe at some point they wanted to make it look better, so they thought they would plant some trees back here, and they did so inside of tires, and then they didn't take care of them, so they died. So that's what that is. It was a good attempt on their part, but it obviously did not pan out, and so now it just looks arguably worse. And then there is, on this one in particular, a little AC unit that they put in the window, since they're working on stuff in there all the time and it gets pretty hot. And then just some coolers, the same hose that's on the first house. They do have a basketball goal on the front of the garage, like a real one, and every once in a while they'll play a little game of pickup basketball in their own backyard. And then for the actual water tower, the water tower, again, it is just a debug item, which I like quite a lot. And then because we don't have an actual chain link fence, again, this is like a debug item. There is no gate. Again, I don't care if it's functional, but for the realism of it, I just take one of the single part ones and I place it at an angle so that it looks like a gate that was propped open. Fun little trick there if you want it, and it does make it functional because Venison can actually technically walk through that. I'm assuming it's enough space for them to walk through. Again, I haven't tested it, but if you want it to look like there's a gate or you want to be able to access it, that's a fun little trick for you. And then I just surrounded the remaining part of the lot with these 2 different trees that I scaled down. This is an evergreen and a pine, and I just scaled them down, and then I threw some logs down here as well, just to add to the element a wee bit more. So that is the entire first build for my little Werewolf Summer Sims 4 series. Hope you liked it. Again, it will be in the gallery in case anybody wants to use it. If you do use it, let me know. Let me know if it is functional or if you have any problems with it, or just how you like it, or if you make any like significant changes to it. Let me know. I would love to see it. I do have a couple ideas for some of the other lots. I don't know what I'm going to do for all of them yet, but I do have 2 ideas, so I've got to decide which one I'm going to do next. I think I also might try to film the actual building process, so I might just upload that instead of an actual tour if I'm able to pull that off, but we will see in the next video, whether it's a build video or a walkthrough video. I am going to attach a few like still shots and screenshots of each house really quickly before the video ends, in case there were any details that you wanted to see that I maybe moved past too quickly. That way you can see them a little more clearly. But yeah, that is all, and I will see you hopefully next week with the next build. We'll see.